Hello.
Hi, it's
Hi.
nice. It's nice meeting you.
It's nice meeting you as well. Can you hear me
Thank
okay?
you. I can hear you perfectly. Can you hear me too?
Yes, absolutely. Perfectly as well.
Great.
Alright, first of all, hi, let me introduce myself. My name is Leor, and I'm gonna be your English instructor, your teacher. And first of all, I want to ask you, how did you find out about us, Gabriel? How did you find our post? What made you want to start learning Hebrew?
Okay, so your first question, how did I find you?
Yeah.
I joined various Hebrew groups on Facebook, and it was through a Hebrew group that I had expressed an interest in wanting to learn Hebrew. So I had connected with someone who had said they would connect me to you. And so I'm involved in various groups. I'm not sure exactly the group it was at that time, but it was through Facebook newsfeed, a Hebrew group that I. And then your second question was, why do I want to study Hebrew?
Yes.
I have actually been studying Hebrew for probably about 8 years,
Wow.
but I am not fluent. I am not able to speak it. Um, as bizarre as this is going to sound to you, I teach the Hebrew alphabet. But what I
Okay.
teach in that, I'm a pastor, and what I teach in that is the every Hebrew letter has a spiritual message biblically tied into it.
Yeah.
Aleph being the strength of the leader, the symbol is an ox head. Beit, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, each of them have, in each formation of each letter, um, you have pictograph, which was back in the time of Adam. You have today's modern Hebrew. So
Yeah.
I teach what each letter stands for. Not able to put letters together, not able to read. I do it more from a biblical standpoint of each letter. I took a course for 1 year in Israel, Biblical Hebrew.
Okay.
And though it introduced me to being able to run letters together and learn their sounds, the vowels really have me confused. But that's just in terms of reading. That's not in terms of being able to understand what is being read. So, what I'm hoping to do is be treated very much like a child learning to talk a language.
Okay.
I'm going to be 50 years old in 2 months. I don't learn like I learned when I was 20. It's not all just like photogenic and you take it with you. I
Mm-hmm.
have to apply myself, but being able to get back to the basics of just basic language, basic talking. I do understand little words. Like I understand Boker Tov, good morning. But to turn around and say, how are you? Or, some basic, I need to go to the store. I cannot speak in Hebrew at all. So what I would like to do is be able to find someone who can work with me very much like teaching a child to talk,
Okay.
keeping it very basic. I want to learn to enunciate properly. And what I'm not interested in that a lot of Hebrew courses online teach, if you sign up for a Hebrew class, for some reason they want you to learn nouns and adjectives and adverbs and I understand if you're going to, be a writer or maybe go to another country and you really have to learn. But for me, it's just learning to be able to talk in the language. A
Okay.
baby doesn't know nouns and verbs and adjectives, but by the time they're 4 or 5 years old, they can communicate. That's
Yeah.
what I would like to do is just learn to talk in Hebrew.
So I want to try to see if we're understanding each other. What you're hoping to accomplish is rather than like a more, or rather, what you would like me to do is you'd like me to take a less technical approach and a more conversational approach. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you would say your level in Hebrew is like you were a beginner, essentially.
Right. I like a parent would teach their child the alphabet, 2 years
Right.
old, A, B, C, D. Um, After that, it's learning to communicate. So yes, I know my alphabet.
Yeah.
I don't know how to count yet. But I do know like Aleph, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Mem, Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samach, Pei, Pei. Well, I know they're like different letters. Pei, Pei,
Yeah.
Kuf, Resh, Shin, Tav. I know my alphabet. I just can't talk in Hebrew. I'd like to
Okay.
be able to say good morning. How are you today? I'm going to the store. As you said, conversation.
Okay. It's very interesting. I like your enthusiasm. You have a lot of energy, which is it's wonderful.
Well, the thing is, what brings me to this is I'm a pastor.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that the original language of the Bible was in Hebrew, the Old Testament.
Yes.
And the I'm I teach, I preach from obviously the English language. I use King James, but I feel a lot can be lost in translation.
Yeah.
When you get people trying to reinterpret it in their language, I think a lot can be missing. And
Yes.
then man turns around and they think they have the picture, the message, and grant. I believe that very educated, knowledgeable people grouped together to put that into as close as possible to its original language.
Yeah.
But you cannot interpret every word.
That's right.
And for me, being able to learn God's language, the way God created it, I feel I could become a much better teacher and a much better pastor, because the Bible is, let's call it a letter. It's a love message to God's people.
Yes.
And rather than having an interpreter tell me what God is trying to say to me, I would like to know myself what God is saying to me. And
Yeah.
once I understand and I can connect with my Creator in His language, then it's going to help me to be able to explain God to other people. So that's what drives me to this.
I see. So, would you like to also learn a little bit about biblical Hebrew? Because it's very different from modern day Hebrew.
And I do understand that, but I'm not fully understanding the difference between the two.
A lot of the words that were used in the more ancient Hebrew, we can call it that, are either completely gone in today's version of Hebrew, or they sound and are pronounced very differently. So there's
Okay.
quite a big gap in between. It's like they're almost two different languages. That's how different it is.
Okay.
Like you see,
Okay.
you obviously see the similarities because that's Hebrew and this is Hebrew, but it's very, very different kinds of Hebrew.
Okay. Which one are you comfortable teaching? Which one do you teach?
I teach modern Hebrew. I mean, I'm a native speaker. I also learned
Okay.
biblical Hebrew when I was in school. So
So you can do both?
I can do both, yes.
Okay. I would rather learn the one that you are most comfortable with teaching, because I'm going to gain either way.
Yeah, thank you. Um, well, it seems that you have two main goals. One is to learn how to speak Hebrew, just period. Learn how to speak Hebrew to anyone. Let's say, by the way, are you planning to make Aliyah? To come to Israel, to move to Israel ever?
Probably not.
Okay, so So then my follow-up question to that is, would you like to learn to speak regular modern Hebrew to know how to talk to a native Hebrew speaker?
I would, but then on the other hand, if I'm not using it to move into the country to have to learn to talk in everyday language, as a pastor, I probably would be leaning more towards understanding what the Bible is trying to say in biblical Hebrew.
Right.
Because again, my goal is to be able to become a better pastor.
Yes.
And of course, you're relying on the Word of God for that.
Yeah. That's very correct. So that's
But
kind
I
of what
don't
I'm.
want to be making the teaching or the lessons difficult on you if your one level of teaching is easier for you than the other.
Well, it's just a matter of preparing lessons differently and taking a slightly different approach to what we're doing.
Okay. Well, then let's say biblical Hebrew.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So you want to know, you want to understand the Bible as it's written in the original language, which is Hebrew. That
Yes.
is okay. That is what you want. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I think I can help you. I'm pretty sure I can help you with that.
Okay.
Um, how many lessons a week would you like to do?
Probably one.
One a
Because
week.
well, right now I am a full-time college student. I pastor a church full-time and I have a full-time job on the side. So
Okay.
I don't want to become overwhelmed, and I want to be able to take the material that you're giving to me, and I want to be able to have ample time to learn so that from I'm not like running. I don't want to run lessons together where I'm beginning to lose things.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have enough time to process it, understand it before moving forward.
Right, I understand that. You want to be able to focus on the material and actually take it in.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Okay. So once a week, what weekday would you say you're comfortable with?
See, we are 7 hours apart.
Yeah,
So my
something like
morning
that.
becomes your evening.
Yes.
Um, my job, my full-time job in my pastoring is done out of my home. So I can be a little more flexible. What seems to work better for you? Days or, because I don't care if I have to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I want to accommodate.
Well, I also don't want to make this a burden for you in any way. Ideally, I want to make it so that, we're both present in the moment rather than you staying up at 3 o'clock in the morning being sort of half asleep. That's less than ideal. Uh,
Um,
so something like this I think would be great. Something like 11
this is a
a.m.
good time for you. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a perfect time for me.
Okay, that's great.
Okay.
That's lovely. So what day of the week would you say you could do?
Do Wednesdays work for you? Like
Yeah.
say like today?
Yeah, sure.
Wednesdays at my time would be 11.
11 a.m. Eastern, yeah.
Right? Okay.
Okay.
Now, what would be your cost, your charge for these lessons?
My rate is 100 shekels an hour, so to convert that to dollars would be $30.
Okay. Okay.
Does
So
that work for you?
That would be 120 per month.
If we're doing one a week, yeah, something like that.
And then of course sometimes okay. So what I will do is I have to go through my husband for the payments. I have to run it by him.
Okay.
So I just have to make sure and get the information, and then what I can do is I can message you and let you know what his reaction to that payment whether he says that sounds wonderful, or whether he says no, I have to go through him.
I understand that. Okay.
So what I can do is send you a message as soon as I speak with him. He's working right now, but as
Okay.
soon as he gets home, I can let him know what we talked about and
Yeah.
how fulfilling this will be and what the payment would be per lesson.
By the way, I want to ask you one more question about just how I'll be teaching, how you'll be learning. Would you like me to teach you in English? So, what I'm asking is, when we're just talking about the material, would you rather me speak English, or do you want to do some basic version of Hebrew first to kind of understand and practice that?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both would probably be well. Like if you come on to a class and you just begin speaking to me in Hebrew, I mean, I'm obviously going to be lost. But if you
Yeah.
take that back to your childhood, when a baby or toddler is learning to talk, the only way they can learn to talk is to not understand it first. And then the repetition of knowing, this is, see, when I look at it, your brain has got to get to a point of you've got to try to figure out what that person is saying.
Yeah.
A baby doesn't have it interpreted in baby language.
Right.
They have to process, eventually, when you say to a child, it's time to get up, a baby, time to get up, they don't have the inklingest of an idea of what you're saying.
Yes.
But a mom can't turn around and say, I'm going to interpret that now in baby talk. No, the child has to realize, eventually this means I'm to motivate and get out of bed. It's time to get up.
Yeah.
So that's the only way the baby learns is they hear that, and eventually they end up putting it together that this picture, that what they're saying creates this picture in my mind, and this is how I'm to act upon it. So I believe that that's a perfect way to teach learning a language. On the other hand, because I am an older adult, um, my ability to learn may be much different than that of a child. So it might take a little bit of speaking in Hebrew, but then it might take my having to write things down
Yeah.
and maybe not at first writing things down the way they're exactly written, but writing them the way I'm hearing it, and then
Phonetically.
writing what
Yeah.
that means, like Boker Tov. I know that means good morning. Shalom. I know that means peace. That can mean hello or goodbye.
Yeah.
But when I write it, like the word Boker Tov, I know it's Bokertov. But I could turn around and write, and I know there's no vowels in Hebrew, but I might turn around if I didn't know and put like Bochr, Boker, where I'm understanding exactly. And I know that's
Right.
modern Hebrew. That's probably not biblical Hebrew. But so that I'm understanding how it's sounding. So some things I would have to write down, and I would have to take that paper, and then it would become repetition for me. I could
Yeah.
say, good morning, Boker Tov. Good morning is Boker Tov. Then the next time I'm speaking with you, we could greet each other. Shalom, Boker Tov. Again, I know that's not going to be the ancient biblical Hebrew. That's some of the modern I've learned.
Yeah.
But I think that the learning styles are probably going to jump around a little bit given to my
Yeah.
age. But yes, speaking to me and leaving me to figure it out. If I can't figure it out, then there's a mental block, and I'm not going to be able to speak it if I can't figure it out.
Well, we can get through that. It's not like we just hit a wall and there's nowhere to go. There's always somewhere to go.
Okay. Okay.
And I
Well,
also
you
think. Sorry.
you appear to be a wonderful instructor, and I think the greatest thing is when students can connect with their instructors. And I feel that the Lord is putting you in my life because I feel I can connect with you as a teacher. And that's
Thank you.
going to help.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Also, I will add, I think there's like you could call it a gateway, if you like. To understand biblical Hebrew, you want to first understand the basics of modern Hebrew because it's easier. Because biblical
Okay.
Hebrew is it's much more complex and there's a lot more. Like one word is linked to another one, and it's done in such a unique and interesting and intricate way that I think once you understand modern Hebrew with its relative simplicity, I think it's easier to access the information of what biblical Hebrew has to offer. So I think it'll
Are
be
you
very.
refer are you referring to like the Vav is sometimes connected right to a word and the word and the word kind of linked together? And you
Yeah,
put like the Vav, and then you may have like what I call like a little line where you go, and then it immediately you go into the next word where we would separate and from the next word. They would put like that Vav symbol and then they would tie it right into the next word. So it's like
yeah,
to us, two words, but in Hebrew, one. Is that what you mean?
a little bit, yes. And there's also well, yeah, words are kind of tied to one another in
One or the other,
different
right?
ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to get a lot out of your teaching.
Okay. That'll be
And I
great.
look forward to it. So let me speak with my husband
Yeah.
and show him how enthusiastic I am and how this will make me a much better wife. And then I will message you.
Okay, I appreciate that. If I'm even if I'm not available for chat like right now, I'll read your message when I can. I'll respond to it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right, because I know we're at a time difference. I could wind up messaging you when you're sleeping. So,
Or when I'm at work, because I also
right.
have a job outside of this, so it sometimes happens that I'm not available at the moment that I receive a message. That can
And
happen.
same with me too. If you get back to me, between schooling and caretaking, I could end up, it could be a few hours before I get back.
That's fine. It's perfectly fine. We're busy adults. And we have our lives to live, and that's fine.
But thank
Yeah.
God for our technology.
Yes. The fact that we're able to communicate through oceans and seas,
I
through
know
Zoom, and see each other and hear each other so clearly, I think it's a wonderful blessing.
it is.
Yeah.
Well, God bless you. It's been a pleasure meeting you, and I look forward to a future in the Lord with you as my instructor.
Thank you. It was wonderful meeting you as well, and I look forward to spending time with you and getting you to a higher level of understanding this wonderful language that you want to learn here.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you too. I'll see you again
Bye.
soon. Bye.
Bye. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.